Geez, I should be playing background music. No headlights. It just died. Like there was no battery, nothing. I put it up in park and I went to turn the key and it didn't even click. I mean, there was nothing, no juice whatsoever. And after hearing all these stories, you get kind of spooky. The house in front of us was maybe, if you go up, turn the corner there and go up the road, maybe 200, 300 yards, 250. I don't know. It's a ways up their hill, up their road. I thought about walking up there. I didn't say nothing, but I thought about walking up there. I didn't. Debbie was freaking out. I was kind of freaking out. She, I tried. I don't know how many times I tried to start it, turn the key. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And she was really scared. She locked the doors. I helped her lock the doors. I was, you got to admit, you're talking about people's cars breaking down. You're talking about ghosts. You're talking about hauntings and hearing noises and whatnot. And you get to this tree, which again was explained to us that it was a hanging tree and a woman was hung and all that hogwash. Um, Debbie looked. She kept looking around, and we couldn't even really see each other because that's how dark it really gets up there. She said she saw someone standing in the tree, and I'm thinking, okay, you're scared now. You just don't lose it on me. I know you're scared, but whatever. Um, Again, I thought about walking up to that house. I didn't want to go back to the Dandy house. It was a little further back there. And then suddenly there was this glint on the dashboard, just a light that came from nowhere. And that freaked us both out. I have to admit, it was kind of screwy. It happened again, and I still can't figure out. I know the road well. I still can't figure out how this happened, but what the light was, it hit us again on the dashboard. It was a car coming down the road behind us, and it was actually Father Al. Uh, he pulled up. I could see in my mirror when he opened his door that it was him. I immediately opened my door. I got out and I gave him a hug. Now, I just met this man, but I felt so relieved that he was there, of all people. Uh, a Catholic friar. I felt quite safe. I got back in the car, didn't close the door. Father Al stood there. He said, "Well, what do you think the problem is?" I said, "I don't know, Father. There's absolutely nothing, no power, nothing's happening." And I turned the key and it started right up. Yeah, some of you just got goosebumps, didn't you? Coincidence? Who knows? Long story short, he thought it was probably just a short or something in the with steering, the ignition, whatever. I took it to a garage in Olean, Joe Zemer's garage on the corner of First Street and Wayne. He totally went through the electrical and everything. There was nothing wrong and it never happened again. Coincidence? Or did the ghosts shut my car off to let me know that I was now part of their scheme? Um, Drove very slowly home. Got home, went to bed. I had a guitar sitting in the corner of the bedroom. I'm a drummer, had been most of my life. I had a guitar sitting in the corner. I still don't know why the hell I had that guitar, but it was leaning up against the wall. Little bit after we went to bed, it strummed twice. Whatever. Just got to throw that in there. Um, Part of a ghost story, I guess, huh? So far, we talked about the boy walking through the yard, the letter opener, and the picture, the hanging tree, and what else did I? Oh, the Disney bitch. I worked at the Olean West Side Sub Shop with a friend of mine. It's so ironic. This whole thing is ironic. There's so much craziness to the entire story. Well, he knows about it. He knew about it, I should say. Plus, the newspaper was in the sub shop, and I was kind of glaring at it and reading it and going over it again when we were both at work. The next night, by the way, this is the second night. I met him on the 17th. This was August 18th. And I'm looking at the paper, and he was talking to me, but I wasn't paying attention to him. And he finally got my attention. He said, "What are you doing?" And I was telling him about the house and everything, and about what was going on and stuff. And he, "Oh, take me, take me, take me." He was excited to see a ghost, I guess. Anyhow, Tim did go with me that night. We closed up shop and drove up to the Dandy House. We didn't go in. It was late at night. It was after 11. We closed up at 10. We just went to the driveway and pulled in. And that second night, after meeting the Dandies, we parked the car. Phil, of course, I didn't tell you, Phil was a crane operator for the Ford Motor Company, so he drove to Buffalo every night, which was a 60-mile drive from where they lived. He worked the third shift, so he wasn't home. Only Clara, Mike, Laura, Beth, and Mary were home. Well, we pulled in, sat there. I drove that night, the first night, and we had our windows down. No flashlights or nothing that first night. We're just sitting there, and there were still people. There were still people, traveling back and forth on the roads and parked. There was nobody down at the house at that time. And it's a long ways if you walk. There was no cars on McMahon Road, except down by the hanging tree. We were sitting in the car, and suddenly we heard a woman say, "Help me." No, not a help me, but "You want to help me," or "Will you help me," or something like that. And Tim, sitting in the passenger, it came from his side of the car. He jumped into my seat, into my lap, and his skinny little body at the time was able to fit behind the steering wheel, and he basically did sit behind the steering wheel with me. We rolled our windows up, scared to death. I wanted to go knock on the bedroom window where Mike slept, which was behind us, or to my left, actually. Tim wouldn't let me get out of the car. And I'm not going to just say it was Tim. I did not want to get out of the car. I should have just started it up and left. But instead, I jockeyed the car around until we got right up to his window and knocked on his window from the car. He came out. He's got in the back seat, and we talked, and things happened. But again, I'm not going to tell the whole story. I'm done telling the story, actually. Just want to tell you how I got involved. And from that night on, Tim and I would go to the house almost every single night for a year and a half. And ultimately, Tim and Beth married. I can't tell you the year, I'm sorry, when they got married, but they're still married today in 2015. Tim and I don't talk. And that, water over the dam, whatever. It bothers me. I liked him a lot. He was a class clown. He was a lot of fun to be around. And he was a hell of a lot of fun at the house. Stupid things sometimes pull people apart. So as time went on, things got more hectic. I became less scared. I became an aggressor. I paid for that aggression a couple of times. Even most recently, about 3 years ago. Again, 3 or 4 years ago. 4 years ago it would be now. You have to be careful, I guess, in some instances when you're around whatever force causes hauntings, disturbances. Who knows? Maybe it's electromagnetic fields that create strange things that we all see. There's a story of a stagecoach. We can't find anything that is precise in giving us details where a stagecoach road used to be, where the wagons used to go.